y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle and I'm the owner of Damn Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo. In today's tutorial, we are going to be using another one of April's flock box pattern. This is a fun bird of paradise pattern. April's box was packed full of kind of tropical and fruit patterns again to kind of get you guys into the summer swing of things. We will be using another Tumbler template from my friend Ellie over at Ellie's Crafting Co. This is a basket weave pattern that I actually edited a little bit and removed one of the patterns or cut lines, I guess, so that we had one big diamond on one side and then one smaller diamond on the other side. I just deleted a cut line basically to get these two different diamonds, so you guys can manipulate Tumbler templates to kind of get your own feel or put your own spin on things. Go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified first when my newest tutorials drop. Also, don't forget to check out the description for a full list of supplies if you want to recreate this tumbler yourself, as well as discount codes from my favorite suppliers, including one for the Tumbler template from Ellie's Crafty Co. All right, y'all, let's get started. Alright guys, so this is what my bird of paradise pattern looks like. I went ahead and cut out my template already and base painted my tumbler white. And I'm going to take my cup cradle from Cami Page Boutique and draw a straight line down the tumbler. I use this tool so often. If you guys do not have a cup cradle from her, I highly suggest it. We also have a discount code for her shop down in the description. So now that we have our straight line, I am just going to kind of do this tumbler template the same way I do a regular tumbler wrap. I do always like to remove one little section first. It just helps me match up the tumbler template on both sides, so that I know that these little V marks at the top will line up on the opposite side, just so I know that everything's going to be straight. So I'm just going to pick this up with my transfer tape. You guys can see that I left a little bit of one side exposed that is not attached to the transfer tape, and I'm going to use that as a hinge on one side. It can be a little difficult to kind of cut that edge off, especially if your tumbler template has a lot of little small pieces. But we got it off. I'm just lining that edge up with my straight line that we drew. And I'm wrapping my template around, and it looked pretty good already. Usually it does not happen, but that straight line helps a lot. And I am just going to peel off the backing completely. And then I'm going to use my little squeegee to smooth down the vinyl. So I'm just using this to smooth out any bubbles or wrinkles or anything like that that I see. And we're just going to line this up. And if you guys were wondering, if you purchase a template from Ellie, she does have the sizes that you need for your 20-ounce tumbler or your 30-ounce tumbler in the actual file, because I can never remember what sizes each tumbler requires. So before I trim the edges of my little template, I'm just making sure that everything is laid down straight. This one had a little bubble in it, so I just lifted it up and then laid it back down. And then I got out my little pen and just popped any larger bubbles that I saw. Sometimes I can lay a template and not have any bubbles at all, and then sometimes I will have 10 that I need to go in and pop. So I'm just using my heat gun as well. I like to use my heat gun around my top and bottom edges just to get it to adhere to the tumbler, because it does make it easier to edge the vinyl that way so that you're not cutting over vinyl that is loose. And if you guys saw that little flash right there, my power went out. It was the weirdest thing. So I waited for a second and then decided that I guess the power is going to stay off. So we're going to continue without smoothing down that bottom edge. So popping bubbles again. Good thing it was daylight outside, because if it wasn't, it would be dark and I wouldn't be able to see what I was doing, and neither would you guys. I feel like this bird of paradise vinyl is fitting for all these birds that I hear today. I don't know what that one bird is that's kind of loud. So I'm going to go ahead and get my edging tool out. I have two of them. I have a regular one and then one of the newer low profile edgers that is really made for mugs or tumblers with handles. But I keep each little edger on a different setting, because the bottom of the tumbler you need to put your spacer on 2, and the top of your tumbler, the little blade needs to be in space 1. So instead of switching my blade back and forth all the time, I just keep one little edger on one setting and then the other in the other little setting. So now our edges are nice and smooth and even, and I'm going to start glittering my template. So since I am using the same glitter for the entire glittered area of this tumbler, I'm just going to paint it all the same color. I'm using Topo Chico, which is a very light mint color. If I were to apply this directly on the white, it would be pretty light. So I did want to kind of boost that base a little bit. So we are going in with Miss Lillian's No Wax Chalk Paint. I also get this from Brooke over at Cami Page Boutique. And I can never remember what the name of this one is called, so I will link it down below. It's a long name. Maybe something cottage? I don't know. I could be wrong. And I'm just going to do a very light coat of this paint. I believe I do 2 coats of it. And then I think my power just came back on, so yay. And I am not going to glitter with this paint. I am just doing the base, and then I'm going to go back with glitter glue and actually apply my glitter. All right, so we got through one base. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead so that y'all don't have to sit through another base coat layer. Okay, so my second base coat is done. So now I'm going to get out a little bit of glitter glue from Artistry. I really like glitter glue versus Mod Podge. I hate Mod Podge. I never use it. I don't know if I've ever even used a full thing of Mod Podge. I used to apply all my glitter with spray adhesive or epoxy before I found glitter glue. And I just had a little bit of that Miss Lillian's paint on my paintbrush, so my glitter glue is dyed a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and fill up my little medicine cup with my Topo Chico. And I did use my heat gun to dry the Miss Lillian's a little bit because I did want to make sure that the Miss Lillian's was completely dry, because if you try to apply glitter glue on top of paint that is not fully dry, it could remove some of that paint, and then that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of base painting the tumbler. And this is all going to be the same color, so we don't have to worry about crossing lines or anything like that. And I am glittering this in sections. I'm not doing too thick of a glitter glue layer, so I want to make sure that I get that glitter on there before the glitter glue starts to dry. And I was really happy with this glitter color. The vinyl itself is a pretty dark vinyl, so I wanted a color that was going to kind of brighten it up a little bit. And I thought that this color really pulled from kind of like the light blues that are in the flowers and the tips of the Monstera leaves. So after I have all of my glitter on, I'm going to pat down any chunky pieces that I see just to kind of help with the epoxy process. Then I will let it dry completely. Typically with glitter glue, I will wait an hour just to make sure that everything is dry, maybe a little bit longer. And then I will take this downstairs and spray seal it with Rust-Oleum 2 times. And if I'm using a spray sealer with vinyl, I always do very light coats. If you do too thick of coats, that could cause the vinyl to lift on the edges, and we definitely do not want that to happen. So after that spray sealer is completely dry, I will take this out to my garage and put 2 coats of epoxy on it. If I'm using chunky glitter, I always like to do 2 coats of epoxy just to help cover those chunky glitter grains. So this is just my little turner. This is my small one. It's a magnetic turner from the Tumbler Grip. I love this turner. I do have a discount code in the description down below if you guys want to try their turners out. But after the 2 layers of epoxy has dried, I will sand it really well. And then we're going to add our pinstripes and decals. So I thought that these colors went well together. This is kind of a holographic rosy gold. And then we have a light coral orange. If you guys did not know, I do have a PinStripe File on thedrunkflamingo.com that has my most used sizes, which is 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. When I print out pinstripes, I typically print full pages at a time of different sizes. That way I have lots of different colors and lots of different sizes in case I want to layer them or do fun designs. And when I apply my pinstripes, I am going to kind of keep that weave pattern. So on one side, I'm going to have the larger diamond go on top of the smaller diamond. And then on the other side, I'm going to have the larger diamond go underneath the smaller diamond. But for now, we are just applying the pinstripes like normal. And I will show you guys how I cut the pinstripes to get that weaved effect. So I am just applying these pinstripes, just crisscrossing each other. I am not too concerned with which one is overlapping what for now. And I was trying to use some of my smaller pieces so I don't have to waste as much. So I knew that this side, the smaller one, was going to go underneath. So that's why I just put the smaller piece there and did not overlap. And the same for this little piece. I knew I was going to cut the other piece that was in the center of that little glitter stripe. Sometimes you have to have a plan before you actually do something. And here I'm trying to figure out my plan. Can you see me thinking of how I want this to look? Like, which one do I want under? Which one do I want over? And I'm just taking my fresh blade right here and cutting. So we're just cutting that little piece of vinyl, which will create that weaved effect. So that one is going under. So I think I have one more or a couple more of the rose gold ones to place. Or maybe one more. And then we're going to have to go clean up that little area to pick which one is going to be above and below. So I am trimming this right along the pinstripe just to get it as close to the edge as I can. And then we're going to lift that up. So now we have one side where the larger one is going under, and then the other side is going above. So now we are going to take our coral pinstripes and we're just going to kind of do like an inset. So I'm just applying this coral vinyl right along the inner edge of the rose gold pinstripes that we just applied. And when my pinstripe edges meet, I just apply them like a right angle. I do not get fancy and try to like cut in the center so it looks like a diamond meeting. I tried that one time and I did not personally like how it looked. And honestly, there's like a little tiny space in between the vinyl and it really bothered me. So I would rather just overlap it and have it form kind of like a little right angle instead of trying to cut it and get it perfect and then possibly messing it up. But like I always say, there's always more ways than one to do things. So you just have to do what feels most comfortable for you. So we are just going to outline all of the holographic vinyl until we cannot outline anymore. And it would even be cool to do like a vinyl outline on the outside of the pinstripes, which I also thought about doing. But sometimes less is more. But I was really liking this coral and rose gold combo. With the mint green vinyl, I just thought it went really well together. And I will go ahead and tell you guys that if you are doing pinstripes and you are concerned about the vinyl lifting, you can always apply a little bit of UV resin. I've also seen people do like clear UV gel polish and just apply a little bit to the edges of your pinstripes and cure it with the light. That way it will prevent the edges from lifting. I do that a lot if I'm doing or using holographic or metal vinyl. If I'm using just regular vinyl like this coral, I typically don't worry about it because it adheres to the tumbler pretty well. But a lot of times metals or holographic tend to lift under epoxy for whatever reason. And I think we are done with pinstripes. So I'm just using my heat gun just to warm the pinstripes a little bit, get that adhesive really sticky so that it adheres to the tumbler really well. And I do not think that I used UV resin for these pinstripes. I think I just heated it with my heat gun, and they did pretty well. I don't think I had any lifting under epoxy. So now we're going to add our decal. I thought about adding it to the smaller side, but I decided just to add it to the larger side so that it was framed in with the diamonds. And I just put it on and kind of like eyeballed it, made sure that the edges were even so that there was equal amount of space on each side of the decal. And then smoothed each side down. And after I got that on and was happy with everything, I took this back out to my garage and put 2 final coats of epoxy on it. Anytime I have decals or pinstripes, I always add 2 final layers of epoxy just to make sure that everything is sealed in and covered well. And here are finished pictures. I love how this tumbler turned out. It is just giving all the tropical vibes. I love this little bird of paradise vinyl. I think it's so fun and summery. If you guys use this vinyl or use this template, please post it in the Drunk Flamingo group. I love to see what you guys come up with, what sorts of videos inspire you guys, and how you take tutorials that I put out and put your own twist or spin on them. Alright y'all, well that is it for this tutorial, and thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my Damn Fancy tutorial group or my Drunk Flamingo glitter group. Both are linked in the description. Thanks for watching.